We're gonna open the meeting for the Conservation Commission for May 7th. We want to do a roll call. Are all the commissioners here? Okay. So can we go through? I'll start with you. Ken?
Here.
Haley, are you here? No. And Paul's not here, he's on vacation. Eleanor?
Here.
How are you?
I'm going to turn off the video though while I'm walking, and then when I get home, I'll turn it back on.
Okay. Is that everyone? We have a quorum? Yeah, I guess we do. Okay, what's next? Okay, well, I guess we're gonna approve the minutes. Do we, what? Did I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Jimmy, is it just you and I
I did think it's
right now on the
I
commission?
think, isn't Haley here?
And Eleanor, Eleanor is on.
And Eleanor, okay.
Wait,
So
do we
it's
have a
me.
quorum? I'm counting
Okay.
3 people.
Yeah, we've got 3 people, so that's a,
Oh, we
That's-
need? All right. Sorry.
Except I'm not sure I can approve minutes if I wasn't at the last meeting.
I wasn't
Oh.
at the last meeting either, Jimmy.
oh, okay. We're gonna not do the minutes right now. We're gonna save it for next week.
Jim,
So,
I
yes.
have a favor to ask. I got
Okay.
a call from Bill Renault,
yes,
and he said he has to pick up some children tonight, and he wanted to
Yeah.
know if we could do the 2 orders of conditions out of order so he can get out of the meeting and go pick up his kids.
well, do we have anything that's, date, times that we have, can we take it out of order?
Yes, well, you can take this out of order, that's no problem. And then if one of the other public hearings runs a little bit later, that's also no problem. You just can't start early, but you can start a little later.
Okay,
And
so,
Much to these orders, I don't think it should delay very much.
okay, so why don't we do that then? What do we want to do now?
So he said that he looked at the order of conditions for Vetsfield
Yeah,
and the one for Quantapowhat. Hold on, let me just get the. And he said with Quantapowhat, they all seemed fine.
mhm,
But he said that with Vetsfield,
yeah,
that
yeah,
there was some problem with the salt, because he said that the town just gets the salt that it gets, and it's very difficult to do all of the other roads and do the salt for Vetsfield separately.
but, Bill is here, so,
He is. Yeah,
Oh,
he's here.
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Bill,
I agree with everything she just said. So the condition was to not have salt within 50 feet of the wetland of the lake. So for us to change that just for Vetsfield, I mean, that's usually the last thing these guys are doing after working, 24 straight hours. I mean, it's not something that we necessarily have storage for either. And then to change it out for the one location, that's a little problematic, I think, for our operations folks. And, the public works director was going to hop on, but I think he was running a few minutes late. But, that's my request, is that maybe can we nix that one condition? We're fine with the plowing. I mean, we can plow into the, into the center of the island. That's not a problem. It's just the salting. I mean, our alternative would be we wouldn't salt, and we would just note that it hasn't been treated for ice. That would be what we do.
the only issue we have is that where do you want to decrease the 50-foot distance?
Well, I mean, I think to the edge of pavement would be the goal.
But
We do come kind of close. We do come kind of close, but
Okay, I'm more interested in where the boat ramp is, because the water that goes in that area goes directly down into the lake. So is there any way
That's all right, I'm back.
you can keep it, keep it
Out of
far
the,
enough?
but yeah, out of the ramp area. Yeah, I mean, I think we could figure something out for that. Yeah. If that's the concern, we'll accommodate it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I graded it a little differently too, so it's not necessarily all going straight there. I think it might go to a catch basin, but ultimately it's all going to end up in the lake. So I understand your
Yeah,
point.
ultimately, right, right. Um, okay. Does anyone have comments on this?
Yeah, this is Eleanor. Hi, Bill. I
Hi.
was just curious, what do you use around Crystal Lake, right? Because don't you salt,
We do.
don't
It's
you have to
salt.
clear there?
No, it's salt all the rest of the run. So the person that does the run around the lake, and then obviously some of the streets around it, that's all one route basically that does that, and they use the typical road salt.
Right
Mm.
next to Crystal Lake, though?
Not Crystal
So-
Lake, this Lake Winnipout.
No. I meant, what are you using at Crystal Lake?
It's the same thing. So if you look at the configuration of kind of where the stormwater and everything goes, it doesn't actually go into Crystal Lake. So if we're sanding and salting, it doesn't make its way in there. It flows to
You-
the basically there's a stream that's the outflow of the lake.
So it's paved all the way to Crystal Lake and you're just using road salt and it
It's
discharges to the
it's a-
outflow of Crystal Lake, is that?
Yep. So it's not graded to go into the lake. It's graded into the street. So the sidewalk grades towards the street. Catch basins all flow towards towards Broadway, and towards the train tracks, and there's different sections where the water gets into a stream that's downstream of it. So nothing's getting into the lake from our road salting.
Oh, sorry, I take the train every day. I thought the tracks were elevated above Crystal Lake.
We
And
still have pipes that can go below that though.
I didn't hear that. What'd you say, Bill?
We have the pipes are below ground, so it doesn't really matter about the grade. Like we have catch basins that collect it at the low spots and then send it to to wherever we want to send it to. So it gets sent to there's two
Where does it go?
two
Where does it go?
streams. There's one in Foundry, and then there's one that is the actual overflow from Crystal Lake. But I mean, ultimately, this is this is for Lake Quinnipiac and Vets Field though. So
Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to add?
What about the setback distances in the order? Did you determine the distance?
all those
Um,
other distances are fine. The 50 was the issue.
No, but they're all blank spaces in the standard order.
No, it was provided to Elaine. She has them, right? I gave them to her. I don't have it.
Hold
We did it
on.
in my yeah. We definitely have them.
So I filled them out and I think I put 50 feet on them, on those blank spaces, which had sort of been standard.
Yeah,
So we'd like to get, if we're talking about the 50-foot setback from, we're fine with the snow. That's not a problem because we can plow it towards the interior and then push it into the island. That's not a major issue. The issue is really just the salting and trying to stop that. That's the issue for us. So.
and the salting that you're trying to stop is from the parking lot.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only 50 feet, so the parking lot's bigger than 50 feet. So, we'd be changing materials for one small section or for the whole parking lot. But ultimately, like I said, our guys are working, all night, 24 hours plus. I mean, this is the last thing they do
I know.
to
that's
then
what
have
they
to
do.
shift and change materials. I mean, it's just operationally is really an issue for us.
Okay, so here's what I have for setbacks. Landscape debris, I'm looking at it now. I have 25 feet and this one I'm doing now is Quannapowick Parkway.
Okay.
Debris, 25 feet.
What?
Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, 25 feet.
Mhm.
Fertilizer, 25
Oh,
feet.
yeah. You're gonna come?
No plowed snow within 50 feet. And then I have no sodium chloride within 50 feet.
Quinnipiac, we're good with all of those. they're also conditioned in, so the 200, 300 property is the one that's going to be maintaining the roadway. And they have the same conditions in their on-site permit, so they'll be using the same material. So that's not a problem for us on any of that.
Okay, so Vets Field. The same setbacks.
Yeah.
And so what do you want to do about the salt?
That's the big question. So we prefer it to be, you know, no salt within, say, like what it's about 5 to 10 feet from the lake. That's where the edge of the walkways and everything are. So we'd like to be able to salt the walkways for folks that want to walk and cars that want to drive.
Mm.
And Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. So Director Conway's on, you know, so I said basically what we would look to do is probably to move to not have it salted at all, and then just note that it's not treated for ice. That's probably how we would handle it.
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, with the class of that water body being a type A, a level A, right? Is that, yeah, I mean, are we doing something that's, you know, we shouldn't be doing? Should we be sending the salt down there?
I mean, it does get diluted. You know, there isn't a specific provision for it, you know, in any of the regs. So, I mean, I don't see it as an issue personally, but, you know, if we were filling a wetland or something to that effect, that's a completely different ballgame. So, you know, or if we're impacting, you know, a bordering vegetated wetland that's next to the lake, that's a problem. Those are the, what, it's basically just a protection to make sure that they don't get removed. That's the main requirement.
Do you know the extent of what wouldn't be salted if you have to stay away like 25 feet, for example? Is it just a tiny sliver of that sidewalk by the ramp?
No, it ends up being, Ken, the curve, you know, if you're driving through, you come around
Yep.
the curve is probably what I would say is probably the most important part that you want to salt, probably, right?
Yeah, if you extend, just for example, if you extend it out 25 feet from the actual lake, I think
Yeah,
it's
we'll-
only snipping off just a little bit of that sidewalk.
I think it's more than that because you,
Okay.
yeah, you have a small grass strip as you're getting in that little curve. So we have the sidewalk that goes beyond it today, and that's how it rings around the, you know, so the sidewalk will ring around the, you know, the kind of the turnaround part there.
Hmm.
I mean, we'd be looking at, let's say, you know, 5, 10 feet, 5 feet, somewhere in that range.
Does anyone have anything they want to add?
Elaine, I'm just curious, Lane, what's the standard that's used around other sort of class A water bodies? Do you know?
There isn't one for this type of thing. There's not one.
Even if, well, I guess I was thinking if you had one truck that's doing Crystal Lake and Quannapowitt or one run, then you're maybe doing less harm to both those water bodies.
Yeah, but again, nothing's flowing in there from us. We have a wetland that's up gradient of it, right? That for the neighborhood, there's a neighborhood that's back there. What's that, West Park Drive, Joe? Is that the road? So we have that area in that neighborhood that has a section, but we have treatment systems before it discharges there. There's a bioretention area and some swales and things. And then that's the only stretch that's salted, but it's a road that's, you know, there's a good amount of buffer, you know, of protected land before it gets to the lake.
Mm.
And we don't have a salt issue with the lake, with Crystal Lake at this point. So
once you have one, right, that it is part of our water supply, right?
yeah, it provides a minimal amount of our water supply, about 10% or so.
Okay. Thought it was as high as 15.
In practical of what we actually pump, it's closer to 10.
Hey, Bill, do you mind if I share my screen just to, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I know you
for it.
told me, I'm trying to prove the point of how little of an area
Yep, sure.
potentially
Yep, fire away.
and I'm sorry, I wasn't here last week for, for whatever was presented, but
And we didn't discuss this last week. It wasn't on, it was added as a condition. It's just a part of the standard conditions, so.
so, say you do a 25-foot, I don't know, can everyone see my screen?
We see it.
So
Yeah.
if this is a 25-foot buffer from the shore,
hmm
and you can just draw a line as a 25-foot, and up here obviously extends, there's a grass area over here.
Yep.
So, but from the ramp, I don't know where the water is, right now, but, from the ramp working south or southeast or whatever, if you're using 25 feet, there's only a small area that would potentially be salted.
That would be, or not be salted.
Well,
I mean,
we don't know
if
yet. We
you-
haven't decided,
yeah,
but I guess my
so if-
point is this kind of the limit of the area
Yeah.
that would be, say, within 25 feet.
Yeah, yep. That's
Okay.
the 25-foot offset.
So it would just be, like a little bit of the walkway and a little bit of the edge of the.
Yeah, the handicap spots and the sidewalk.
So I'm just trying to present it to the folks just to kind of show what would be impacted or how close 25 feet is or how far it is. That's all.
Thank you for the visual, Ken.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Well, when you get right down to it, the whole drainage system there goes right to the lake, and that's gonna have salt in it, so I'm thinking it almost doesn't matter. Just you got all that, the whole parking lot really is gonna go right into the lake, so with no treatment, so I don't know if, you might as well be allowed to put in the walkway, salt the walkways and stuff like that. I don't see the difference.
That was
Can we
my
think
take. Yeah.
about, sorry, can we think about maybe adding some more salt resistant shrubs and plantings around the area to kind of help catch and absorb some of that?
If you folks want that there, I mean, right now it kind of has a grass area that goes up to the lake. I mean, we're looking, it's part of it. We discussed adding plantings in Hall Park, some butterfly and pollinator stuff, which we were happy to do,
Mhm.
and work with the Friends of the Lake. So that is kind of in the queue too. I mean, if we have to add a couple of, I don't know what we would do. Not Rosa Sharon. What are the ones that are on the Cape? The rose that's salt tolerant.
Beach plum.
Beach plum, is that the one I'm thinking of?
Elaine, does that seem like
That's
an
not
option?
the-
No, the rose, I can see it in my, I
You
can.
know,
s-
I used to have them. I can't remember what they.
Beach rose, is it a beach rose? I'm
That's
trying-
not the name. That's not the name of it. I know what it is. I just can't. It's not going to
Yeah.
come to me.
Elaine, do you see much of a concern for this, considering?
I think Jimmy made the best point. You've got Lake Quannapowitt, into which a huge watershed, which already has ice flows. This little bit, I don't think is going to make any difference at all, frankly.
This is what are we doing here? Is this an NOI, right?
Yep. This is for the order of conditions. So
And you
we
have
didn't
it
really
in
talk
here?
about salt in the hearing, but it was in the conditions because it's part of your standard stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where it came up. So we were just saying, obviously this is difficult for our operation to switch over to materials.
Okay. Does anyone else want to have anything to add? Any resident want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, is there a way to grade it a little, like a
No.
little bump,
No.
before the boats go in, like a little like speed bump that kind of keeps the ice melt from going right in there and
Yeah. So
direct it back?
it's in floodplain. That's why we didn't so the sidewalk actually is at grade, which is something we typically don't do. So we would have been
Mhm.
looking at compensatory storage and ripping out some of the grass areas and stuff. So we didn't want to do that. We didn't think that made a lot of sense. So, you know, we left the portions that we could regrade into the center island. So what we ended up doing, Eleanor, because I don't think you were here last week, but we're grading most of the parking lot into the center island and creating a new bioretention area to treat the stormwater before it discharges into the lake. So I want to say 65, 70%, whatever we could get into the center island, we put into there. And then it's a line basin because we don't have the groundwater separation. And essentially we get the treatment for phosphorus and nitrogen from the bioretention for the majority of the parking lot. And then the remainder that, you know, goes in there today that we couldn't hit and get into that center island doesn't, you know, still goes to catch basins and discharges to the lake as it does today.
Okay. Okay, no, I mean, my other comment along Hall Park is it's mostly native plants there that get mowed down currently every summer, and it would be nice. I've talked to some reps from Friends of Lake Quannapowitt that maybe just letting that go would be beneficial, and let them selectively, you know, maintain it, removing anything that's invasive, but it's largely native plants there.
Yeah, so that was requested by the commission to remove the invasives down there. Friends had already approached me as a potential project for part of their group, which I think makes a ton of sense to kind of dovetail all of this stuff together. So I think what they were looking at was kind of doing something similar to what we did further down on Floral Way, where we did the pollinator garden with more of a bush type, you know, plantings and some of the other flowers and different things that we did down there. Not the wildflower area, but kind of going down towards the lake. We removed the whole slew of invasives and replaced it with a pretty robust pollinator garden.
Okay. It was a good step. I think we could do better. Some of the pollinator choices are actually a little on the invasive side, some of them. But again, I think it would be great if you know, we could focus on if there are things that are already there and that are already native and doing well, leaving those be, and you know, enhancing other areas that actually need invasive removal and getting people to do it who are knowledgeable.
So, well, I mean, I think we are knowledgeable that you know, and that was actually designed by the former conservation agent. So, yeah, and you know, I'm happy to have maybe Elaine, if we want to condition it so that we evaluate that shoreline area with her to figure out which ones need to be removed and areas for enhancements or areas to keep. I'm happy to do all of that.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Okay, is there anything else? Anything else anyone wants to add to this? Because this, we're gonna issue, well, did we vote on on issuing an order?
No,
Right.
you didn't.
Well, I need someone to make a motion. If you,
I motion.
For which
What-
filing?
which-
There are two that you're talking
Or-
about.
Well, we're talking about Quannapowitt firstly, right?
We
Yeah.
can Quinnipiac
Or
Parkway
is that- Wait, no, I'm sorry.
or vets. It doesn't
Vets,
matter either. I
yeah.
think either one, right?
well, Haley made a motion, right?
To issue order of conditions for Vets Field.
Okay. And is there a second?
With the modifications discussed
Yeah, that's
to
true.
remove that condition.
I'm gonna second it. There's not too much choice here. I'll second it. I'm gonna take a vote on this. Haley,
Yes.
Eleanor? Eleanor?
You're on mute, Eleanor.
Sorry,
Mhm.
can I vote if I wasn't there at the last meeting?
If you
Just-
watch the meeting and you sign the Mullins form, I believe you can. As long as you were sworn in before.
I was sworn in after the 16th,
Yeah. so
but I
that
did
would-
watch the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that then in that case.
Okay. So I'll abstain. Thank you, Bill.
Yep. No problem.
They Ken?
I'll vote yes. I didn't attend the meeting, but I did watch and review the plans and the NOI, so yes.
Okay. And I'll vote yes. I guess that's it, right?
For that one.
For that one.
That one. Let's look at the other one now.
I'm sorry, can I get some clarity on the distance for salt?
We removed that.
It's just
Conditions,
delete the
just-
whole condition.
Yep.
Okay. And what about plantings along the shoreline?
I would say we're having it so that you and I are gonna review the area
Well-
for where the supplemental butterfly and pollinator plants will go, and help me with the selection of the plants. And
Do we know how big an area we're
process.
talking about?
I think we were talking about the whole area in Hall Park, so I mean, we're doing the sidewalks in there, so I'm already there, so
Okay.
I have no
All
problem
right.
looking at that whole shoreline if need be.
Okay. All right, is there anything else to add here? Elaine, do you have anything to add?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, so we're done with that one. We're gonna get on Quantico Parkway. Is there anything we should know about that right now? Elaine?
No, I typed up the findings and the order, and I sent it to Bill for review, and he is okay with it as written. And
Mhm.
I just read out to you what the setbacks were. I can do it again here, just
Yeah, could you do that just to refresh my memory?
so. No storing or dumping of landscape debris within 25 feet. Use of herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, or insecticides is prohibited within 25 feet. Fertilizer is prohibited within 25 feet. No plowed snow shall be stored within 50 feet. And sodium chloride, no sodium chloride shall be used within 50 feet.
Okay. Okay, is there any more discussion on this?
I see Bronwyn's hand up.
Okay,
You can't take public comment. The public hearing is closed.
oh, that's right too, yeah.
Can I ask, sorry, a question? Is it it's different crews who will be doing this? I just am only concerned if we have inconsistent policies
Yep.
around the lake and not holding everybody to the same standard.
Yeah, so yeah, this is being maintained. I talked about it earlier in the meeting. So 200 and 300 Quinnipiac, that development, they're actually responsible for the maintenance of the roadway. We had
Mhm.
agreed for them to fund the replacement, reconstruction, and then adding in a shared use path that I would come in and design and permit the project, and then they would take that and construct it and then maintain. They already have an easement to do that. So yeah, so in their order of conditions has all the same criteria that you're asking for here. So it's no impact to those folks, and they had no problem with it.
No, I think the only difference is the 50 feet of snow.
Yeah,
thank you.
again, they're doing the same. Yeah, and the salt and the snow, all of that, they have the same criteria within their order of conditions for the site too. So they're just going to manage it the same way with their contractor to do it.
But we're waiving sorry, I don't mean to be difficult. We are, just to be clear, we are waiving that 50-foot
Nope.
requirement on the other side of the lake
On
for
the other,
Vets Field,
we already
for
did.
Vets
Yep.
Field. Yep,
So-
yep.
Yep,
So
because that's our
veterans-
guys, because that's our guys that do that. So that's the public works staff and folks that are doing the other areas. This isn't an area that's going to be maintained by public works going forward.
But Is that normal where we have two different standards between what Public Works does and what we ask the public to do?
Well, we are a little different. Obviously we're not in it for profit. We're in it to, you know, maintain the community. So, I mean, we're usually held to, I would say, pretty close to the same standard, but at times, you know, we have to look at our operations and how things logistically work in the town.
Eleanor, you don't have to agree with what Bill is saying all the time, because it may not be what he wants to hear, but we're gonna do what's best for what we're supposed to be
Right.
doing. And I think in this particular case, as far as vets fields go, I don't see that salt can really be handled in that area, and I don't think it's gonna make much difference. My experience says it doesn't make that much difference for the dilution ratio that they're gonna get out of it. And besides the fact that a lot of the other things that Bill said, because of the difference in water elevation and stuff like that, this is probably the best he could do.
Okay. Okay, no, I appreciate that. I just wanted to clarify.
But you don't have, you don't have to, you can ask as many questions as you want to
Sure.
Bill.
Oh, definitely.
Right
That's why I'm
there
here.
for us.
That's why I'm here.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so are we, the hearing was closed for 200 Corner Power?
Yes, you have to issue the order.
Okay, so,
I'll make the motion to issue the order with the standard conditions as described by Elaine.
I'll second.
okay. Let's do a roll call. All in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Abstain.
okay. And Ken?
Yes, same as last. I
Okay.
did not attend last meeting, but I did watch the video. I did review the NOI and the site plans.
Okay, and I say yes as well. All right, so that's it for Bill, right?
Yep, that's it. Yeah, we continued Butler Ave, so we'll see you on that in about hopefully about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
Good. All right. Thanks, folks.
Thank
Good seeing you all as always.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have
Thanks,
fun,
Bill.
Bill.
We're
Yeah,
gonna go
thank you.
back to the agenda now.
All right. Thank you,
And
folks, for taking me early too.
Yep, no problem, Bill. 0 Preston Street. Where do we stand with that? You?
Good evening, Paul Finocchio, on behalf of Rocco Sippo, who's the owner and applicant for the property at 0 Preston. We finally got a DEP file number, which
Okay,
is 313642.
okay. And what else what do we have to discuss with this?
But the last previous 2 hearings, we discussed it all. We're just waiting on the file number to close.
Okay. All right, so someone want to make a motion to close the hearing? Is there anyone else that has, wait a minute, is there anyone that has anything they want to add? Okay. Can I get a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close the hearing.
I'll second it. All in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Abstaining because I wasn't sworn in at
Okay.
the last meeting.
Ken,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, so that's all set. Broadway,
Thank you.
I'm just going through these because we're already late, right? What's the time?
So I'm sorry, are we issuing a standard order of conditions for 0 Preston Street?
Yep,
Okay,
Do we need to go through all those blanks to fill in now too, though?
I thought we were doing 25. Is that true or not?
do you want 25
We-
foot
we-
all of them?
I'm asking you guys what you want to do.
I missed this site visit. So you'd have to tell me what you discussed there, but if you are thinking 25 on across the board, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best you could do. Okay. You're done, right? The next thing is
No, no,
Broadway.
no,
No, no, no.
you have to vote. You have
We
to
have to-
vote on that.
I
We have
don't-
to- I'll
You
make a
voted to close
motion.
the public hearing.
Okay. So, so I need a motion to,
Did we,
Motion to issue the order of conditions as discussed.
second,
okay. All in favor? Go through the same thing. Haley,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Abstain.
Ken?
yes,
All right, and I vote yes.
is that clear with Elaine?
Yes.
So, just a quick question.
Yes.
What were you talking about 25? You said 25 across the board.
Read that in the, read that in the order of conditions where we've got the 25 feet.
Here, hold on, let me just pull it out. Okay, Paul, there's a series of standard conditions which have to do with setbacks. I'll read them out. Use of fertilizer is prohibited within 25 feet of a wetland resource area. No plowed snow shall be stored, actually, this one says 50 feet with the plowed snow of a wetland resource area, and that's according to DEP. No sodium chloride within 50 feet.
Okay.
No storing of leaves, grass clippings, brush, or other debris within 25 feet. So this is okay, you're gonna have a driveway here, and they want to see the plowed snow more than 50 feet away from the stream, or 50 feet and above from the stream. And salt within 50 feet. No salt.
So it's basically don't salt the driveway and shovel the snow. You're saying plowed?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, you're all right with that?
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
The next item is Broadway Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, Attorney Brian McGrail here on behalf of Ray Felidi. And also with me is Rick Salvo. At the last, this involves the repaving project at 21 Broadway. And as Rick Salvo had explained, we're actually pulling back some of the pavement to the back of the property. We had some of the commissioners wanted to visit the site. I don't know if you were able to do that before closing the hearing. And also, we made a commitment to do some plantings along the back. And Rick Salvo has submitted a revised plan showing 21 plantings in the back, and I can share that if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Yes, yes, that'd be good.
Is that where you can see it? Second.
How do we do this?
There you go.
Okay,
That helps.
yep,
So the 21 plantings are in the back area here, we want. And I think you can see them. There's some bayberry, viburnum, and maple leaf viburnum.
Brian, we did go out there. I went out there with Elaine and Haley. And we noticed that there's a big mound of dirt at the edge of the asphalt, just in front of the brook. what's happening with that?
I think Rick, are you here?
Yeah. I don't, the amount of dirt, where is it? The parking lot adjacent to the stream?
Yeah, parallel to the stream. It's like a big mound. It's got vegetation growing on it, but I think the asphalt looks like it's sloped that way towards the street, towards the brook anyways, but are you gonna do anything with that?
We weren't intending to.
So what is this heavy line on here? It looks like, is that the hay bale line?
Yes.
Okay. And are you outside of the edge of pavement in that area?
Right
know
at
what
the,
I'm-
right, yeah,
you know-
just outside the edge of pavement.
You know what I'm talking about there's a big berm out there. It's a big berm of dirt, it looks like.
Yes.
I mean, I see some benefit to it and I don't. I mean, it at least stops the water from going directly into the stream. That's a good thing. But it looks
It's
like
also catching or slowing some of that trash that's flowing from the parking lot towards the stream as well.
yeah. So
Was to leave all that there, and in the area that we're going to plant on the edge where we're removing that pavement, burn that up a little bit too, just to keep the asphalt from being able to discharge straight into the stream.
yeah.
Majority of that goes into those two catch basins, but in the very back there, it is relatively flat, but it does probably make its way towards that stream.
Okay. I see the way you've drawn this. I just did we close the hearing on this?
No.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning, I guess, the way I see this thing planted and what I saw out there as far as the bank goes. And I can't tell from your drawing here if you're doing any grading out there. If that's going to be,
No, we're not doing any grading.
so where you cut the edge of the pavement, you're not going to repave that whole driveway, are you? That whole area? Are you doing the side?
No, we cut out about 1,000 feet of pavement, 1,040
Yeah, no,
feet of pavement that we felt was extra not necessary. But yeah, the whole thing will be repaved. The whole surface is paved now will be repaved,
right.
but
Okay.
for that 1,040 square feet.
Okay, so where you've got these plantings going and you're gonna put pavement in there, does everything just stop at I mean, do you have any curbing or anything or you figured on the wall?
No, just like it is there, just be an edge of pavement. Yeah, we'll burn it. There's occasional deliveries that happen back there. There's really not a lot that happens behind that building, but they do need it to be paved to be able to get some deliveries back there.
Right, yeah, so you can use it. Yeah, okay, I get that, but
Yeah.
okay, so you're not gonna do anything other than add plants to that area where you're taking
Oh,
out.
there's also, Jim, up here, there's a note, 1,040 square feet of pavements. It's gonna be moved, and then we're gonna also do some wild life seed mix in the area.
Yeah, okay,
Well, so that area is going to get replanted with the one plantings. The
And
other improvements that happen, we're putting a water quality inlet prior to the discharge, increase and enhance the DSS removal, the phosphorus removal, and just try to result in a net improvement. So the two mitigating measures are the removal of the pavement and the addition of the plantings, and then adding the water quality inlet prior to the discharge.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
existing.
Okay, does anyone else have any comments on this?
I have one. So I'm looking at the landscaping plan, and the way these are clustered, it looks very, I'm sure it'll be very pretty, but there's nobody there to really look at it. So my thought was to take the same number of plants and spread them out in more of a straight line so that it becomes a better wildlife corridor. Same number of and type of plants, just distribute them evenly instead of in 3 clusters.
Yeah, we're happy to do that. We consulted a landscape architect, yesterday. We clustered them. I have problems putting them in a straight line. That's fine.
All right, thanks.
I know I keep hopping on this, but I feel like I don't understand fully what this thing is gonna look like going up the bank and where the bank meets the asphalt. You're not gonna do any excavating in there. The banks are very steep. The wildflower mix is gonna have to go on the top on whatever flat area you have in among the,
Well, it's flat. It's flat right now, Jim, because it's paved.
yeah,
That's part of the parking lot. It's completely
Right,
flat
yeah,
and
no, no.
stable right now because it's pavement. So once we saw cut that out, we'll be dealing with a flat area. We definitely I don't want to do any work on that bank. We don't want to disturb that
Right.
bank. I
Well,
hear
that's-
you loud and clear. The
Right.
idea is to just work on that edge there, and try to create a little enhancement
yeah,
closer to the
okay,
stream.
okay. Um, I just think that it needs to be, make sure it's stable when we're done. All right, I guess I'm beating this up enough. Any other comments from someone? Anyway, Haley, you were there and looked at this. Do you have any comments?
I have some conditions from our discussion from last time. My notes from the last meeting. It would be to request a copy of all Massachusetts contingency plan documents to the no significant risk standard. So we have those documents in-house. The other one was the O&M plan. Sweep 2 times per year and submit to DPW with a copy to the Conservation Commission. And the third one was that the hazardous waste cleanup should be completed before the request for a certificate of compliance is submitted. What we talked about at the last meeting.
Yeah, I just don't know if Elaine, if the term hazardous waste cleanup is right.
What would you use instead?
Rick, do you have a suggestion on that? Maybe, are you thinking like the closeout with DEP?
Yeah,
Yes.
Something.
yeah. I think that's probably more appropriate. Yeah.
So can you give me some language?
I'll get that for you, from our LSP, Elaine.
All right, that's fine.
Is that okay? Just so we
And
don't, so both of us don't create a quandary that we can't comply with and that doesn't satisfy your need.
All right, so what about the cleanup shall be completed before the request for certificate of compliance?
That one, I think, is what we're gonna tweak the language. I'll seek out counsel from the LSP and I'll put us on an email to come up with the language.
All right,
Please-
it's
I'll say
fine.
that we phrase it as cleanup completed, but we don't think that's appropriate. What's the appropriate closeout with DEP?
Please,
All right.
please refer to the RTN when you write that language as well.
Okay, just give me, this is not a set of regulations I'm familiar with, so
Yeah.
just give me the MCP language on this.
Yeah.
For both the completion and for the submission of information.
Yeah, because the installation of the cap is essentially the completion, which the cap happens to be the pavement. So it's all going to be one and the same. I think, but I agree with Brian. Just to get the actual language of the closeout with DEP, we can use right acronyms.
And Elaine, if you can send that language to me too, I'm very familiar with all of that, so I can review it as well when comes out of the
Kim,
LSP.
what was the term you used that I can reference the LSP?
It's a release tracking number, RTN. It's the number that tracks it as a disposal site.
Okay.
Under the MCP.
Correct.
Great. Lynn, Ken, if it's okay with you, if I can include you with the correspondence with Elaine to the LSP,
Yeah, sure thing.
that way it just gets done right, because you'll
Sure
have your
thing.
eye on it from the beginning instead of reviewing it after the fact.
You bet.
Thank you.
All right. I
I
got
have
it.
one more thing I want to think about. Where I said there was that dirt berm, that berm, in some fashion, some obstruction should be there to prevent the water from going directly into the brook. So I think it should be something that is always going to be there, because unless you find another way to, mitigate anything that the berm is offering. So if you don't have any objections, I would like to see a statement saying that you'll maintain a berm to prevent, we can think of some language to prevent direct runoff to the stream as part of the condition.
Is that like a
Yeah,
curb?
maintain a landscape berm along the edge of pavement to prevent direct discharge to the stream. I think would be the right way of putting it.
Yeah, because if you sell the property, I would like that to be somewhere where someone would note it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I don't have anything else. Does anyone else have anything? And I'll open it up to the public. Does anyone in the public have anything they want to say?
So Jimmy, we can close the hearing out, and then as part of the conditions, that's where the berm language comes in, and that's where the MCP language comes in and everything else. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds reasonable to me. Yeah, so do you want to make that, Elaine, you want to make that as part of closing this out? We'll do it, Brian just said.
Yes, yes. So I'll wait to hear from Brian. I have these conditions ready to go. And we'll tweak the language on them as soon as I get full feedback from Ken and Brian.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring our LSP in.
So we can close it out today and then vote on the order next time? Is that where we're
You
headed?
could vote on the order tonight, as long as the final conditions are satisfactory to Elaine and Ken.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I guess we can do that.
They really want to get going on this with the,
Okay. Elaine, is that?
Yes, that's no problem. I mean, I've got the gist of the idea. I'm just waiting for some polishing on the language from the language of the MCP.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm gonna say, can someone make a motion to close the hearing? And
Motion to close the public hearing.
A second.
okay, Haley, Ken?
Yep.
Eleanor?
Yes.
Did Eleanor say yes?
Can I say yes? If this is my first
Or
hearing?
yes or no, whatever you want to say.
Yes.
Okay, and I say yes as well. And do we want to, we're not gonna, what are we gonna do with the order of conditions right now?
Well, I've got them ready to go, just waiting to hear from Ken and Brian.
So do we wait till they're done to review and approve, or do we vote now to approve them pending the language tweaks?
Can we do that?
What?
Well, they want to get going right away, right? So, the only thing you're doing is you don't have all the information. You have some that you're investigating, right?
We have that, we know what the conditions are. We just want to properly phrase them with the right terminology that's
Right,
gonna be reviewed by
it's just a wording thing, so we
Yeah.
can get, okay,
So we were hoping you were gonna vote to issue, subject to the order of conditions being finalized to the satisfaction of Ken and Elaine.
exactly. That sounds right.
And I motion to issue an order of conditions, subject to the review and approval of Ken and Elaine.
Okay.
Did we need to review the footage? Blank space footage?
Oh, the blank spaces on the order?
Yep.
Yeah, we should look at that.
Okay, here, I'll pull them up.
Unless you want to
Okay.
leave them blank.
Nope, number 45, which is landscape debris. I have here 25 feet.
Okay.
Yep.
Next one is number 47, which is fertilizer, 25 feet is our standard. Or I have here 25 feet, no use of fertilizer within 25 feet, but you can change that.
Not much to fertilize here.
I know, it's just,
The next one is 48, which is no plowed snow shall be stored within 50 feet.
Yep.
The next one is 49,
well, that's not even realistic, is it?
50 feet.
I mean, that means they have to go in and instead of just pushing it to the back,
Where would you put
push
it?
it to the front
the
somewhere.
front.
Or it-
Well, I guess we can leave that up to you to figure it out.
Rick, do you have any thoughts on that?
How would you plow this thing? Would you start in this long stretch and push it towards the big parking lot?
Yeah, they could push it to the landscape strip between him and his business next door.
Yeah, because you gotta keep that roadway open for deliveries.
Right.
So the only place you can put it is where the dirt berm is.
Dirt berm, they can pile some of it on the, as you're pulling into the plows on the right-hand side.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we probably should have located a snow placement area for you. But I guess there's not too many choices you can do here.
So how would you like that to read?
Um,
Never mind.
well, you had 50 feet or 25 feet? No,
50
snow
feet.
50 feet. Where's 50 feet come on this plan?
Yeah, they're gonna be within 25 all day long.
Okay,
I think we can live with 25, quite honestly.
Yeah,
Okay.
50 brings you about halfway through the building, roughly.
right. Yeah, okay. So we'll leave that at 25, I guess.
And that's all of them.
Okay. All right.
So sorry, I interrupted that motion, so.
Yeah,
you
so
Re-motion, so
So I motion to issue the order of conditions as discussed, pending review and updates, subject to approval from Elaine and Ken,
on the MCP language.
the MCP language.
I second.
okay. Did you guys already? All right, let's.
We're
vote
way
on-
ahead of you, Jimmy.
I guess you are. So all in favor, Ken,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes,
Haley,
Yes.
and me. Okay,
What's your vote, Jimmy?
yes. That it?
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
Um, Butler Ave is not tonight.
Don't skip Edgewater.
Oh, yeah, okay, it's what. So is someone here representing Edgewater? This is the other thing that we looked at. There's no one here for
He's
Edgewater,
here,
right?
right?
What's
I see
that?
Libby. We can't
Libby, I
hear her.
think you're on mute.
All right,
Oh, oh, there you are, okay. All right, so why don't you just go through it?
say it again.
What are you gonna do? Explain to us what we talked about?
I'll give a little summary and
Just for the rest of the board?
you guys can weigh in with your own observations.
Yep.
So for the record, my name is Elizabeth Wallace, wetland scientist with Hayes Engineering. I am here tonight with Emily Berga and Kevin O'Connell from the applicants. We are proposing a curb repair project. And if I may share my screen, I can show you the area that we looked at.
Someone's sharing the screen?
I am sharing the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a sketch of the area we looked at. This is between 201 and 301 Edgewater. Basically, it's going to be 5 steps. First, removing a little bit of asphalt to make a trench, and then resetting the displaced granite next to that, right at the top of slope, right at the edge of pavement. Then an apron of crushed stone to dissuade the turtles from coming up and provide a stable slope. And then an erosion control at the bottom of the slope along the edge of the reeds, making the edge of wetland. So basically it's taking out some asphalt, redoing the curbing and making sure that's stable. Putting in a stone apron, regrading the slope to take care of the eroded areas. It's just going to be smoothing it out. Hopefully it's not going to take long. It's probably going to take a day.
Yeah, about a day.
Hmm?
About a day.
About a day, yeah.
Yeah, full day.
Yeah. And after all the grading is done and the work is completed, we'll be placing an erosion control matting over all the disturbed soil. We expect that the mat will last about a year. There'll be an erosion control seed mix put down to regrow the vegetation. Right now, there's no vegetation on the slope. It's just pretty bare and dug up with quite a bit of eroded areas, resulting from water coming through the broken granite curb, and that comes down and erodes the slope. So that's in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions. We had a site visit and, you know, maybe, Elaine or Mr. Chairman, you can, put your thoughts into it.
I think I'm gonna hear what Haley has to say. She was there.
Yeah, I think we're okay to give a non-determination so long as everything keeps to exactly what we were talking about with that that bio wattle was gonna be part of the erosion control, and then they were
Correct.
gonna regrade slightly on the dirt side just to make it kind of in line with both of the other sides. And then they were gonna regrow with all the wetland vegetation mix in that area. Yeah, I think that's fine. The only thing to keep into consideration though is what's the timeline now, because nesting season starts late May.
Yeah, the timing
So
is, we
that's
want to
gonna
get it
be
done
pretty
before
busy.
Memorial Weekend.
Okay.
I'd say within the next 10 days, provided, you know, we don't want to into any issues with the turtles. Usually this up north here, they really, it gets pretty active, you know. June, July is really active. That I've noticed, at least out on the park. They'll nest in anything. They wood chips, you name it, gravel. They're pretty determined.
Well, if this is the time that they're active, I think it's the time that you need to get it done before they get too active.
That is our goal.
Or you should wait till after. One of those
Right.
two.
If we can get to it within the next 7 to 10 days, I think we'll be fine. But if not, we would wait until, after the season.
And when is after the season?
After the season?
Yeah.
This far up north, usually around at the end of August.
Okay.
Further south, they'll go right until September, October.
All right. Elaine, did you have anything you want to add?
I'm just trying to remember this erosion control matting, is it fully biodegradable? I think you told me yes, but I just want to make sure. Is it fully biodegradable or does it have any kind of nylon netting in it?
It's designed as biodegradable. It has no nylon netting. It just has 2 strands of jute netting that holds it all together.
All right.
So oh, go on.
I was just going to say, I can make this the first document I send out on Friday, and I'll scan and send it over to you, Libby, and so you can have it on Friday, ready to go.
Excellent.
Okay, did anyone else have anything they wanted to add? Ellen, did you?
Yeah, it was just along the lines of what Elaine was asking, if it's possible for the turtles to get tangled up in the stuff you're going to put down.
Right, okay. Okay. And so we want to vote on whether this is a negative determination of applicability, right?
Yes.
So someone make a motion to consider this a negative.
Motion.
Is that what you want, right?
Yeah, motion to make this a negative determination.
Right. You made the motion.
A second.
Okay, there's a second. So all in favor? Ken?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Eleanor?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, so I think Elaine, you're gonna follow up with a letter statement, doing the
Yep.
paperwork, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is that it?
No, there's still other stuff on the agenda.
I know that, I'm just saying, is that it for,
That's it for Edgewater, I think.
yeah,
All right, thank you, folks.
okay.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Libby.
Have a great night.
Good night.
Okay, Corn Pile Parkway,
We talked about those up front, didn't we?
I'll
Yeah.
say on those too.
not that, okay. Mapleway Playground, oh, okay, the trail from Mapleway Playground.
Are there tree requests? I don't see them on the agenda, but we got emails from Elaine on trees.
Yeah,
yeah.
I had some tree removal requests come in after the agenda was sent out.
So we'll hold those for next week, or
Well, we can do them now, I would think. Let's see why we couldn't do that now. I was wondering if you wanted to do the Mapleway Playground. Judy might have some information for us on that.
I think there might be someone here for one of the tree removals, if you want to take that first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, who is that? Can someone say who you are?
I think that might be me.
Okay.
My name is Jennifer Haggerty and I live at 18 Parham Street. And I have 3 old willow trees that are very much rotted at the base. And every time I have someone come and prune my other trees, they say, oh, these have to come down. And I see them swaying in the wind. So Elaine has taken some pictures. I don't know if you have them, Elaine.
Yes, I sent them out to everybody.
this is
Okay.
Param.
Yeah.
I'm pulling them up right now, Jimmy. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so that I think is the third one. And I took a picture of the trunk because the upper portion of the tree was clouded out by leaves. But when you see the other two, the third one looks like the other two that you'll see. And you'll see in what bad shape that trunk is in.
Yeah.
And the top of the tree looks like these two.
So I only have 2 photos for Param Street.
Yeah, that's all there were. So 2 trees are in one photo and the third tree is in the first photo. That's it. Yeah.
That's this damaged tree right here.
Yes, yes. And the top looks like the other 2 trees.
Okay.
But
Well,
you can't see it
there's
because
no-
all the trees are in front of it.
there's no question in my mind that they need to come down.
Yeah, I think those are very clearly should be coming down.
Yeah. Any discussion on that? Any discussion from residents? Can we have a motion to, I would say, allow them to take those 3 trees down?
Motion to approve the removal of the 3 dead trees.
Second.
You second, okay, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. You've got some more now, right?
I think I've got some I sent you for Heron Pond.
Yeah,
So for the homeowner, did we need to wrap anything up? Do you need a letter, or is it just this approval? Go about your
I'll
business.
send out a confirmatory letter.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
do you have some pictures of the trees for Heron Pond?
Yep, hold on.
that's- It's the one in the, just to the right of that DEP sign? Is that the one?
It's a very crooked one. What you can't see from this photograph is how close the building next door is. You'll see at the bottom, there's a stone wall. Just on the other side of the stone wall is a house.
Mhm.
And there's an arborist letter on this one, and they're concerned that this tree is diseased, and they have some concerns it'll fall on the house.
Okay. When did you take these pictures?
When? Monday? I think I went out there Monday morning.
So it's just the one tree there. The other two look.
So there's this one. Yeah, there's one tree there. The one you have on the right, they want to take that one out. This one, which it's two parts, but they're considering it one tree. And on the left-hand side, if you were to expand this picture, you can see that the whole bottom, maybe 10 feet, is got a lot of fungus on it. And there's arborist letter to back all the removals.
So are you saying the trees are dying, or are you just saying, what are you saying?
That I'm submitting the letter from the arborist. I never second guess an arborist. I mean, he's a certified arborist, I'm not. So I don't second guess them. I just take the photographs on tree removals.
Yeah.
Not that I would second guess it either, but would you not consider it a conflict of interest where they work for the tree company? In a sense that, of course, they want to take the tree down, because that is money to the company.
Every time you have somebody submit, I understand what you're saying, but every time you have anybody submit anything, you have the same problem. You have an engineer who wants to make a commission on constructing a stormwater system. You have a landscaper who wants to make a commission on a landscaping plan. You're always in that situation.
If there's a certification involved or a professional certification involved, usually code of ethics, kind of that's where that comes into play.
Mhm.
So that's why we look for a certified arborist rather than Joe Schmo wanting to cut a tree down and
Yeah.
make some bucks.
So I guess I'm
I'm
wondering,
not questioning either, just
No, I know you should question everything. I totally, I'm just, in theory, that's how it works.
I guess, how do you apply the tree policy to something like this? Are they dying? I mean, that's why I'm asking if they're dying.
I mean, if they have rotten fungus, then they're sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're certainly diseased. I mean, they could go for a longer period of time before they die, but they're on their way. They're
They're on the
diseased.
way out, so you might as well consider them dead. I'm just trying to figure out if they have to replant something somewhere else.
Well, we we set it up where we can require replacement even if it's not, even for a healthy tree. At our discretion, right? Isn't that the latest version that we worked on?
I thought.
Yeah, and I mentioned that to him when I was out there, and I could not send all of the photographs. There were too many that wouldn't send it. However, they are doing a landscaping and tree planting program, and they put in, I went out, they have a center area between all the condominiums, and they put in 14 what are now 10-foot trees at least, if not more, within the last couple of years, just so you know.
Yeah. Well,
If that's the case, then it's covered, right?
Well, that's what he felt, and they were brand new trees, or new within the last year or two.
Yeah.
So they are planting out there, definitely.
well,
They're
so
gonna
the
have a little
idea,
park in the middle of their courtyard.
right. Okay, I think that's a good substitution. I mean, they are planting trees, they're, reinforcing the canopy and doing all those good things that we need, so.
Any idea
I
what
would-
they're planting, Elaine? Does what they're planting seem suitable or
They're
appropriate?
planting maples, they were planting maples back there.
Okay, so that works.
Okay, I am gonna propose that we, allow them to take down the trees, and I don't think we need to do a replacement because, as you said, he's planted 14 trees, you said?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I agree. In consideration of what's been done, no replacement required.
All in favor? Should vote on this. Ken?
Yes.
Eleanor?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. And there was one more, is that it? Or is there one more?
I thought there were just two.
Okay. Then I'm gonna ask Judy to talk to us about Maple Lake Playground.
There's a
Shoot.
trail behind the playground, behind the baseball field, that extends out to Melrose Ave. And the trail steward for that area sent me an email and said there's a wet spot, which is actually a wetland. And he was concerned because people are walking around it. So he was a little concerned with compaction on the other side.
Mm.
I don't really think this is a place where you could have a bog bridge or anything like that. I think it would rot right out, and the maintenance, I think it would just create more problems. I don't think there are a large number of people using this trail, so I don't think the level of compaction is probably that much of a concern.
Mhm.
And the thing is, when it's wet, it deters people from going in that area. So I think it's kind of a built-in roadblock to access, which helps it protect itself. So I just told him I'd bring it before the board and get your thoughts on it and then get back to him.
Do we have any pictures of what that's looking like?
He didn't have any pictures. I only had that map that shows where the low spot is. And it's a seasonal, I mean, as it would be. It'll be dry in another, couple weeks, as long as there's not much rain. But again, I don't know that there's that much traffic on that trail.
So what's he want to do?
He wanted to know if there was any way there could be some type of bridge to cross it.
Um,
But I don't, I mean, it's a pretty wide area. I just don't think it's reasonable in that spot. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay,
I understand it, but I don't think that's the spot for it.
um, well,
Probably more destructive at this point to try to build
Right.
something.
Right.
well, I think we should write a letter to him stating that we don't think it's necessary at this point, and maybe if it gets any worse in the future, we should take another look at it.
And thank you for reporting it, keeping an eye open.
Yeah. That sound all right to everyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Beaver management policy. That's Judy again.
Well, I just wanted to see if Elaine had heard from the health director about setting up a meeting.
Yeah, that's right too, yeah.
No, I haven't heard back. It was one of the last things I was able to get to as I was going through my tasks. I did send it, I think maybe last week, but I have not yet heard back. Maybe the week before, but I have not yet heard back. I have a little note here in this week's notes to contact him again if I don't hear back.
Okay. I mean, that's something we've avoided all these years. We've never really talked to the Board of Health about it. But I mean, I think there obviously is other ways to handle it than killing the beavers, because they still just keep coming back. And I read all that information. I think Judy got that information, and there is other solutions that I think would be more appropriate, but it requires some work on our part. We need to go out there and evaluate the wetland and try to find the normal flooding elevation and use that as a guide to do a beaver deceiver or something like that. But and we just need to know what their thinking is, why they've taken this approach. They're probably just nervous because they don't want someone to flood out, but
I think there needs to be a more comprehensive approach with a path from start to finish. So everything is documented, because I think that's a problem too.
okay.
That things aren't documented, one department does one thing, one does another. But
Yep.
I can reach out to the health department and just ask to have the commission put on their next agenda.
Yeah. Okay. Elaine, I mean, Rebecca, you got me this information, didn't you, about the beavers?
I
Rebecca,
don't know if Judy had sent
I mean-
some Rebecca had collected. I found some other ones. I know that I sent something out in a package. It
Yeah.
came from
Okay,
various.
I know
so,
some people, because I have it all here. It's like
Yeah,
a few pages. I don't know if everyone's aware of it, so they could read it if they wanted to.
Is that something that once we hear from the Board of Health, is it possible for us to maybe set up some sort of in-person meeting to go through and discuss?
What kind of meeting?
they
person?
don't have, they may have hybrid meetings, the Board of Health. I know they have had them in the past.
All right,
They're not the
so
best quality though.
Did you guys do a site visit?
No, they didn't.
Because I would just be curious how, I mean, you need the policy, but in this case, how severe the flooding is,
This was the tricky one, right? Where it was the health department's purview for capturing, but it was just our kind of determination for them to access it, right?
Yours was, yeah, the dam breaching, but it was the chain of events, how it happened, I think, went out of order. It started with DPW. I don't know when
Right,
it
they just
was
came to
out.
us and said, this is what we're doing, rather than laying out
Right,
options,
right.
alternatives,
And it always
plan.
it always ends up being after the fact that they've done something. That's part of
Yeah.
the problem.
That's what we kind of are looking for, is more of a next time this comes up, what are the steps? Who do you talk to first? What kind of alternatives are you evaluating? And,
Yep.
go through us type of thing, rather than saying, we have to do this yesterday.
did they
yeah,
already take down the,
Yes.
okay.
yeah.
Did they harm the beavers or no?
Well, they probably killed the beavers.
They
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
They have to capture the beaver and dispose of it.
when they take down the
In
structure? I didn't think so, if they just took down
That's part
the
of
den.
what some policies have, that you don't immediately exterminate the beavers. That's why I think it's important to have a policy. So it's not just the knee-jerk reaction that we have to kill them all.
And
Well,
do we even know in this case, like what was the event? It's like, how severe was the flooding? Is it somebody's home or just 200 feet from their house, but it's on their property? Like, what are we talking about?
Well, I got this stuff, right, from it's from, and someone got this from me, I think it was either Judy or Elaine. But this is guidance for conservation commissioners concerning beavers and muskrats. And they tell you right here that they're supposed to use non-lethal methods to take care of these animals. But a lot of the questions that you're now bringing up are in here. They answer those questions in here. So it's worth, grabbing it, I think, and going through it.
This was sorry, that's what I had been looking, if it's the same, where it's, is it occupying a public water supply?
Yeah.
Is it causing flooding of sewage beds? Is it causing flooding of a public way,
Yeah.
railroad, airport? I guess they'd say
Right.
private way.
But that's why I think there needs to be more of like a checklist, because we really don't know what the background is.
But so they just
Always
went off.
after the fact.
Oh, and I don't recall that you guys gave them permission. Like you didn't
We
No,
can't.
the emergency order was issued after the fact
by
by
the,
the commission. They issue the emergency order. To
But
breach the dam.
I should make it clear that the decision whether or not to remove the beavers and how to treat the beavers is made by the Board of Health, not the Conservation Commission.
Right.
The Conservation Commission regulates how the dam may be removed, but it is the Board of Health that decides the fate of the beavers.
I think there just needs to be a clearer process so everyone knows what everyone else has done and there's a clear chain of events.
Because we talked about, is there an alternative and the different engineering alternatives? So if they have those in hand and understand they need to at least look at them and consider them, then maybe something could be avoided in the future.
Right. And I think it's something the commission should look at. I mean, if there's a situation where they see that the water level is rising, they can certainly reach out to the commission and have a site visit before they start breaching the dam. Yeah, before it's at an emergent point. I mean, it's a high spot of flooding anyways, so I don't know when it got to the point where it had to be removed. But as the water's creeping up is when I think the commission could have gone out. If
Right.
the town had observed that it was rising and thought it was going to get to a critical state.
sorry, Judy, where did this take place? On Water Street or where?
Water Street, yep.
The Saugus River, the dam was across the Saugus River.
And this is a
Right.
tricky one where it does deal with destruction of public and private property.
Right, but it
and
floods
health
all the,
concerns.
it floods all the time and there's always beaver. I mean, I don't want to say always, but there've been a number of beaver incidents over the years, I think, there. Yeah, it seems like there's a structural solution, the leveling thing that was talked about. Anyway,
But for what I'd rather see is the commission to have a say in it before it happens.
yeah,
And for there to be, photographs and this, so there's a clear reasoning why this is happening, not, I'm afraid someone's going to flood. Well, what are the, I'm not saying that there isn't a chance of heavy flooding out there, but it seems to be sometimes a reaction that it's a heavily flooded area, so we have to take it out without any background into it, I think.
Mm.
I think it needs to be documented. The pictures need to be documented, who breached the dam, the process they used. I think that should all be documented. I think that's only fair to the people that live around there and to the, the wildlife
yeah.
that's getting destroyed because of it.
Does anybody have a,
There is no rehoming of beavers. I think people sometimes are under that impression. That's not allowed in the state.
What's that?
Homing beavers. You have to kill them.
Yeah.
I thought you could take apart their dam and discourage them.
Right, that maybe could
like
be,
harassment. But
You see, the problem is that if you take the dam down all the way, now you're gonna drop the water table. That could affect the resource itself, could affect the BBW. So you need to know what the normal elevation of the water is out there. You need to determine that. And that's, if the beaver builds a dam up higher than that, then you take it down to that level.
right,
You don't take the thing, you know,
all the way
from,
down.
okay, because you can alter a resource. And that's the reason why conservation is out there. We should be observing what the area looks like, looking for signs of water, you know, elevation, so that we can make a determination as to how much a dam can come down. You don't just go out there and just tear it apart and say, let the water run, because you're gonna affect someone else downstream.
right.
Is
And I
that
think
what
that's what-
happened? Sorry.
I don't know, because I don't know what the process was. I don't know where it's documented. But I think that's an important part, to have a narrative like that with an emergency order, or even as part of the file. So that if you look back and it's the same people coming over and over, I think that helps to have a trail so you can reference back.
That example that went around, that Holliston example, is that kind of appropriate to adopt, or does that make sense? I don't remember what it said.
It seemed reasonable.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, I don't even know if the Board of Health goes out and looks. I have no idea what their process is. That's why I think it would be helpful to have a
Yeah.
meeting with them.
Yeah.
And potentially a policy
Right.
of
Yeah.
their own. Great. I mean, if it comes to it, I could start looking into some other towns,
Yeah.
some more examples if needed.
Yeah, there are plenty that have it. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Thing is, even the Board of Health should be looking at non-lethal methods to take care of this beaver problem. So you don't just necessarily go out there and kill the animals. It's not, they keep coming back anyways. What are you accomplishing?
Nothing.
Yeah. No, you're just killing animals.
Right. Someone needs a new hat. All right, I think, is that it for tonight?
Do you want to talk about the agent position?
Oh, the what?
The agent position, now that it's going to be full-time. It can't
Yeah.
be posted until May 22nd. So
Okay,
it'll be posted then.
The description and everything other than the hours and whatnot would remain the same though, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Is there anything we can do different to potentially attract more people other than extra hours?
That's a good question, because there's so many open positions.
I think one of the things we should get some clarity on is where this is being advertised. I think
MACC, Mass Municipal, LinkedIn, I think Indeed, Handshake. All the top, the town website. all the
got
top-
good distribution then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
And you don't think increasing the years of experience might attract more qualified candidates?
You can, I don't know that the salary is gonna, I mean, that's
Change.
part of the problem. Yeah,
what is the salary now? Does anyone know?
I don't know off the top of my head what it is.
Oh, I can pull it up. Give me a second. It's $36.43 up to $45.27.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
comparable to what?
Well, Rebecca was getting 43, I think.
Yeah,
So
And she
I
had
think-
25 years experience.
yeah, I mean, I think we need someone that's really qualified. What did you think about the application so far? There's 4 applicants at this point.
I think looking at them, you got one person with no experience in the field, a completely different field altogether.
Lawyer.
Yep.
Yeah, not the lawyer.
Yep. And then you had two, you know, about to graduate, recent graduates, no real experience, and then someone with about half a year of, I would say, relevant experience. The person had a definite focus on sort of ornithology, but I'm not sure that's right for this role. I think you want somebody who's really performed as a wetland scientist, worked as an environmental consultant, somebody who can really hit the ground running.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
do know from experience, like when we've done hiring and we put something that's like 3 to 5 years, you do get more junior people applying. And then when you go, 5 years and up, you're still getting some junior people, but you're not getting the no experience people. That's why I would also encourage the 5 year.
The 3 to 5 was picked based on other postings that are out there for the same, for different towns. That was
Okay.
Rebecca's recommendation. I mean, it can be changed. That's up to you guys.
Do we think we're like other towns in terms of the volume of work?
Oh, I think the volume, but I don't know that the money is going to capture more people with experience.
Mm. Who has the final decision as to the,
Well, you guys will be able to interview the applicants, and I would imagine they defer to you, but I don't know.
I personally think it's hard to replace somebody with who came on with 5 years of experience and left with 25 years of experience to come on with 3 years or less. It just feels light. And I don't see more senior people applying if that range is too low because it feels entry level. But I understand what you're saying, trying to match, benchmark against what's out there. But it does seem to me like Wakefield does a lot more developments than a lot of other towns, and just the volume of work and complexity of work seems to be higher.
If you want, I'll talk to Amy and have her change it to 5 years. It's up to you guys, whatever you want to do.
what's it at right now?
3 to 5.
3 to 5?
I think
I
it is
think we
very narrow kind of pool for this type of thing. So I don't know how much people would be turned away. Seems like there's just not enough people who want to be conservation agents. I'm not sure if they'll look at. I don't think we're getting much interest at all, no matter kind of what the experience listed. If there's someone with a lot of experience, I don't think they would turn this down because they're looking for a conservation agent role. That makes sense?
Yeah, I think
Should-
it boosting up to full time will definitely get you more applicants. So,
Mm-hmm.
but you're looking at probably July easily before someone would start. By the time it's posted and you get applicants and you do the interview process and they give their notice and. Well, you can think about it and email me and I'll talk to Amy, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, we could raise it years wise just to cover ourselves. That's
Yeah.
fine.
That's fine. I'll just tell her to raise it.
Because we can always say 5 and someone with 4.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly what's going to happen.
It's not preventing anyone. It's not like a system where it
No.
prevents you from submitting.
Right.
Like a federal or a state job, it'll physically prevent you from applying if you don't have
Right.
that number of years.
I just got an email from someone on Montrose Ave about Keith's tree.
Yeah, I just went in and forwarded a couple
Oh,
things.
okay. That they are expanding. That needs to be looked, keep an eye on. I used to get,
I've got it on my to-do list for this upcoming week.
Is this the area that's like right behind the high school?
Kind of, yes.
yeah, it backs up to it.
Oh, I wasn't sure the correct venue, but I was walking my dog along Kelly's path and saw somebody is putting yard waste, basically grass clippings and other bag debris, like right near that wetland area.
Mhm.
Yeah, the forestry department goes in there regularly, not regularly, but they go in there and clean out stuff all the time.
Is it the homeowner doing it, or like how
I don't know.
it's a big
probably
lot
is.
and it's
Yeah.
literally, it seems like it's the homeowner. I thought that wasn't permitted.
It isn't.
Judy, who would decide what the pay would be for this?
It's already
person?
set. You can't change the pay.
Say that again?
You can't change the pay at this point.
No, but you said there
Oh,
was
the
a
start-
range. How do
Yeah,
you
there's a
know?
range. It depends on their experience. I think Amy would decide that.
Who would decide it?
Amy, they probably have a minimum starting point. And if they
No,
had a
just-
lot of experience, maybe they'd bump them up a little. But they like to keep them near the lower so that you have a room range to move up.
Okay,
Because unless, you get more money in the budget next year, it stays.
okay.
You want to talk about invasives? Elaine, want to talk about that?
Yeah. I'm just
Okay.
wondering how the money affects the
Well,
experience.
there's nothing you can do about that at this point for this go round.
Yeah,
Well, chances are when they start, it'll be half the year will be done. I mean, more than half the year will be done.
Right, right,
So they're not gonna use the full budget.
mhm,
right.
okay. Elaine, did you want to talk to us about invasive plants?
I wanted to talk about knotweed and I think maybe it would be a good idea to start putting something up on the conservation website about what it is, how important it is to eradicate it, and to start talking about different methods for removing it. Just to start kind of a public education campaign at this point. I think that we should do what we can to identify where it is on town-owned land and get the DPW to at least get that out of there.
I can tell you
And-
that most likely won't happen.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't think that will happen. DPW doing it.
Why not?
I don't think they have the manpower to do it.
There's definitely new infestations around the lake. I've seen that near the bandstand, just to the right where there's natural, what do you call the cattails? There's a new infestation. And I think it's being cut at the wrong, in general, what I've noticed around the lake, it's being cut early in the season, which encourages more growth. So I think there's definitely training that's required. Bill, when I mentioned invasive species before, Bill seemed to think that they were very knowledgeable in the area, but I think knotweed is a beast in and of itself, to Elaine's point, and it requires specialized treatment.
Right, and maybe that's part of the problem. If it's a chemical treatment, I don't know. I wouldn't volunteer DPW unless you knew they were going to be able to do it.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I'll talk to Dennis.
It's usually volunteer. It winds up being in a lot of towns volunteers who have the time and will actually go one by one and, put the poison on the stalk without spraying it or things like that. But I think they do need knowledge about it, like not cutting it, not constantly mowing it, because you're just encouraging the growth. I did notice jogging also on North Avenue in front of that new development. It was growing through the asphalt that was just put down. I was going to send a photo.
Yes, send the photo. I'd like to put that on the website.
And then
it will, I saw something the other day. It will crack people's house foundations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would certainly alert everyone when they something like that. And if they see it growing through a concrete sidewalk, I think it would generate a lot of interest. So yeah, that photograph would be very helpful.
I mean, it already kind of is, because I've been seeing posts popping up in some of the like community pages on Facebook and stuff where people have been asking what to do about it and just noticing it. But I think in terms of like identifying where it is in town, at this point, it's almost everywhere. Like you can't drive anywhere without seeing it.
And it's just this year. And even in that pollinator garden, it's popped up. And part of my concern is when you're bringing in heavy equipment, it spreads,
But I think part of the problem with having, I mean, it's fine to have public information about it, but then you're going to get inundated with calls, identifying this spot. I mean, we had someone come in who mapped out spots of Japanese knotweed and said, what is the town going to do about it? It's on their property. So if there's a public information campaign, then you're going to get hordes of people asking to have it removed, and you need to have a plan to know how we're going to address that before.
Yeah.
So is there like with we talked a while back about the town is hiring this grant writing person. Is this something that potentially they could find and write a grant to find like an expert that could help on like a contract basis, like work through parts of town to eradicate what they can and also help educate in some way?
But it has to be over a number of years. That's part of the problem. It's not a one-time, it has to be over like 3 years of applying the poison in the stalks, and then you hope that it works.
Yeah.
And that's, you're applying poison to these areas as well. So that's the other side of the coin.
That's a tricky part. You're not going to get Boy Scouts, or
Right,
kids out
right.
there applying poison. So
No, it would be crazy people volunteering like me. But I don't
well,
know much
that's what I was thinking, and I was like, oh, do the Friends of the Lake kind of put some stuff out? Like, can we partner? It looks like Friends of the Lake did it with Weston and Sampson. Can we partner with any other kind of companies nearby, or try to partner who would looking to do this type of thing?
I think there's still a lot to be done around the lake, and people see that. And working with Friends, Quinnipiac, with DPW, and forming a task force of volunteers, with some, DPW, I think there are things that they can do to facilitate, to make it easier, in terms of maybe getting training or, certain help.
Yeah.
They just don't have the manpower, right?
Yeah. And I know the commission had discussed before planning about with things like that. I just don't know how. I mean, they're union, so it has to be bargained. That's part of the problem. You can't just insist on training. It has to be bargained.
I guess I was thinking, could he get like other conservation commissions have like invasive species, group, or pesticide group, or, tree committees.
Right.
Maybe he's able to get resources to help a citizen group form.
Bill, you mean?
Well, we can think creatively.
I think finding volunteers is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for stuff like this, and especially if you don't see immediate results, people are going to drop off.
Mm-hmm.
We could, at a minimum, well, I think just since we're only talking about beginning the process, I think one thing is to alert private homeowners who can take on their own property. And that's big in and of itself. People don't even know what they're looking at. People don't know how it can explode on them. It doesn't look like bad, and then it doesn't look too bad, and then the next thing you know, it's taken over half the yard. It does tend to explode. As for other areas, I think you have to be a licensed professional. But for example, the town of Lexington has it in their budget that they hire a couple of people who just go around and eradicate knotweed all summer long. So we might, if we took an inventory of where we have it, we would have an inventory of where we have it, so that if we want to have someone dedicated to that purpose, we would have evidence of where it is and how much we would need it. And if it's worth our while as a town to hire somebody who just takes care of knotweed.
I'm
So I
thinking,
think the big part of it is education to the private sector, education to the public sector, and locating stands of it. And if we just did that for the very beginning, I think it would be a good start.
Well, we can put stuff, whatever we want up on the website.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Okay.
website.
I would 100% not believe that they would ever fund a position for that. I do not think Wakefield.
well, does
I'm saying a grant.
making more awareness of it and people start calling in,
That's exact, as we would
that
talk
get
about.
that
how do
get
we know about it?
directed to the town, not Concom, that get directed to the town. Does that help kind of put more weight into it? And, you know, the town's hearing, you know, 100 people and showing all these areas that this is a major problem. Doesn't that kind of highlight that it's an issue? Yeah.
No, because what will happen is forestry will go out and lop it down.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we need to educate.
Well, forestry, if you have forestry that's willing to go out and and lop it down, then you have some dedicated people who could spend their time using a different method. Does Wakefield hire summer help? Does the DPW hire summer help in
They
Wakefield?
do, college.
All right,
and high school kids.
so maybe we can think about those possibilities too.
They're not going to
Yeah.
apply chemicals though.
They're
Not all,
supposed to.
no, I understand that, but not all of the solutions are chemical. So we might take certain patches and see which methods work and which don't.
Right,
So-
but I think I think you'd have to talk to DPW first to see if
Talk
they
to
would allow
Dennis.
them.
Talk to Dennis.
Yeah, like they
Well,
could
he wouldn't make the
potentially.
decision. I think Bill or Joe Conway would probably make the decision.
That's true, but Dennis is knowledgeable, and Dennis is the guy who's actually out in the field. So all I'm saying is we need to start. We need to start. We need to take the first steps and then see what happens, and that puts us in a position to take the second and the third. So I can talk to Dennis. I can put together a package that might be suitable for the conservation website. And see what can be done. But I think that in 5 years, it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Exploding
started-
all around us already.
Get rid of it.
It's
Probably never get rid of it anyway, but at least you could better control it.
When you cut it down, what do you do with all the waste?
You're supposed to burn it or let it
You can put it in a,
desiccate.
yeah. Put it in a
You-
like dark trash bag and leave it in the sun for a week. That'll kill it.
I think even longer. They say like 6 months or something.
Really.
It's bad. But I mean, like to your point with the cutting, there's timing involved. So you could have DPW, for example, do the timed cutting in the fall, and then somebody else, volunteers, come and do the poison or something if they've been licensed. But
Right, but then you're encouraging, that's the other problem I have with it, is it encourages the use of Roundup because people, that's their go-to anyways. And I think that's just going to encourage more use of
It's-
poison in areas where they shouldn't be. If people live adjacent to a wetland and they see it, they may see that they can use this, and then that's the
I think the new
unintended consequence.
Well, I think this is the education piece or strategy that Elaine's talking about, is finding the best research. I think the later research is using very dilute and painting it on, so then it gets, you're not spraying it, you're not spreading it, it's just getting, it's the poison, but it's diluted, and then it gets taken to the roots, and then
I thought you injected it into the root stem.
You do.
Or
But
you
it's
can
over 3
paint it.
years. It has to be 3 years.
What? I would think that that might be a cleaner way to do it.
But how many people are going to stand at this giant stand of knotweed? And they're not.
know
They're
you'll-
gonna
I
spray it,
know
they're
you'll
gonna
be there.
overcast it.
I know you'll be there.
Well, me and Eleanor will be there with all of our little injector tools.
But can I just make,
A small patch in your backyard. You're just starting. If you have a patch in your backyard, you can cut and dab. You know, you
Mhm.
want that small homeowner too. There's a lot of different groups you want to get, but one of the groups you want to get is the homeowner with the half acre, quarter acre lot, whatever it may be. And just get it early.
yeah. And don't let them send it to the
Cut
dump.
Cut and dab. You can cut and dab. You don't have to inject. If you want to cut it off with a pair of loppers and then dab it with a squeeze bottle with a sponge on top, that will draw the poison into the roots, especially if you do it in the autumn when the plant is drawing down and gathering all its energy into the roots.
I think if we're recommending that, though, the important part is what we were just talking about, like where if they're cutting first, taking those top cuttings and understanding that you can't just toss them in a pile on the edge of your property, because that's just gonna start the whole thing all over again.
Well,
As a
that would be
little
part of
node
it. That would be
grow.
part of the educational piece.
Right.
Are you talking about education on the website? Because how are you gonna get this out to people?
Well, you'd put it on the website. I don't know any other way to get the information out to people except putting it on the website, or taking it and putting it on whatever other websites the town may have to distribute information. I don't know if the town has a Facebook or a community page or whatever else the town may have. If we had a piece that people were satisfied with, we could request to have it posted in a couple of different forums.
There's no reason why we can't post it. I don't know why the commission, I mean, just something to think about is having a Facebook presence where you're directing, there's a lot of great material on the commission website, and posting stuff on the town pages through commission like this. And the sustainability group does it, and other groups in town do it.
You can post whatever you want. I mean, I can send in whatever you want to send me to be posted on the website.
Oh, I meant like posting to Facebook to direct them to the back to the website and some of the other resources.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that. It doesn't get that much traffic for whatever reason, I don't know. I just think it opens up a big can of worms, and you need to have a plan before you open up the can. Because people want answers immediately. Well, you put it out there, what are you doing about it?
Well, I think that if your first part of the plan is education, and education directed at the homeowner, then the homeowner could take care of the problem on his or her own property. That would be a start.
But they'd have to know if you have a wetland there, or, that's where the problems come in.
It doesn't matter if you have a wetland, right? It just,
if you're just going to cut and dab, then
Right,
I don't.
but people aren't going to, I don't think people that are novices are going to be that careful. They're going to overcast, or they're going to use the Roundup. They're going to use whatever they think is the most effective. I don't think some people will do the cut and dab, but I think when they see how many stalks there are and how time consuming it is, and that they have to do it year after year, they're going to go for the easier product.
Well, and you're saying the easier product
is more toxic. And if they have a wetland right there, they're overcasting, that's a problem.
but I think you educate them and say it doesn't work.
How does the Roundup kill them? How does the Roundup kill them? you have to get that into the stem?
It doesn't kill them, but people will use that because it's the readily available on the market.
Okay.
Do we know, I mean, going back to the complaint that you had about heats or whatever, I mean, one issue with stockpiling materials is things like knotweed could get, in there, and people just aren't using good cultural practices. I mean, that's definitely an education point, just having people learn to identify it. If landscapers are removing it, making sure they're not sending it to the dump or composting it.
But how do you get the message across to the landscapers?
Should I do anything at all?
You can send me stuff, I'll put it on the website, but you'd have to talk to DPW before, because as we were talking, I got an email about knotweed near JJ Round, which I know Dennis has gotten calls about there already. I mean, they could be up and down the hill, and I think people just aren't realistic about, how the time that's distributed for certain tasks. I get it, it's a problem, but there needs to be a plan and permission from DPW or whoever's gonna do it before it's out there. So before people are calling and saying, well, you said this is town, now it's on town-owned land, now I want to take it off town-owned land. I mean, there was one that backs up to Maple Way, that there was a stand of knotweed off the person's property, but they wanted to treat it. But they wanted the town to treat it.
Yeah. Well, could we put together some kind of an outline as with the steps that you think are appropriate and
Right.
not with
You
that?
can put the steps out there, but I think it opens up a problem where people aren't always adherent to the practices that are outlined, and you have no control over that, and then they could be damaging something else.
Well, you can't control everything. If you want to do something, you're gonna have someone that's not gonna want it done
Right,
the way-
but you don't, if it's near a wetland or it's near a healthy biodiverse area, that's the problem.
Well, I mean, you got two problems.
Yeah, you do. You kill one thing and you take down 5 others with it.
Hmm.
So when I think,
What's the answer? Let
you-
it go wild?
no,
No.
develop a comprehensive plan, see what other towns are
but
doing.
I don't think
Okay.
anyone has a good answer for it. I don't think any
Right.
town has a good answer for it. So I don't think if we wait to have a good answer in place, it's never gonna happen. And you can't sacrifice the good looking for the great sometimes, I wonder if we could just structure it somehow and say, don't do it close to wetlands, or don't do it here, or just put it as informational. It's tough to not do. I see where you're getting at, Judy. I see what you're getting at. We're gonna get a flood of stuff. We're not prepared for it, and nothing happens, and now people are angry.
And the town's gonna be flooded with calls. There's knotweed all over every town spot.
And it's
Why
our
aren't you doing
fault,
something?
right? But something has to happen. Something's got to start something.
Right.
You'll start somewhere.
Isn't that, I thought in other towns, the full-time conservation agent deals with stuff like this.
I think we would have too much for an agent to do,
Yeah.
work on knotweed.
But the agent would have to be a licensed pesticide applicator.
Can you get licensed for just a certain type of chemical, or does you have to, is the general license that covers all kinds of stuff?
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, maybe if you get someone certified is what I'm getting at. Maybe if you're getting certified for just the application of one specific chemical, that might be easier to get than try to certify someone like, for everything.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if that's.
I didn't think it was that complicated, because I know there are other groups that go out and they have somebody lead that's telling them, and they will tackle an area.
Mm-hmm.
With knotweed?
With knotweed, yes, doing control, it's timed cutting and then applying the poison, like painting it on.
And you can't leave the stuff there, right? Once you cut it down, can you leave it there to dry out, or do you?
No, you
have-
want to take it with you and put it in like a dry place where it can desiccate, not come in contact with soil. They tell you, in a perfect world, you're doing sunset cutting, it's wine and weed. No, I'm just teasing, but you're doing it like close to the end of day, so you're not impacting pollinators.
Mm.
It is really, to Judy's point, it's probably really hard to get a town employee to do.
Yeah.
I think
that.
it's difficult to get volunteers to do it.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't complain about it if you're not going to try to do something about it.
Yeah.
Well, whatever information you want on the website, just send it to me. And then.
All right, I think before I do that, what I would do is, before anything is posted, I think I would put together a bit more of a package and have everyone look at it before it goes up on the website. Talk to Dennis before it goes up on a website, so that we have
Does
that.
Winchester have anything in place?
Winchester's just starting to deal with this. And I have to tell you, we do an annual river cleanup day, and I was looking at parts of the river. I was walking up and down at the river in preparation for it, and patches that were 20 feet long a couple of years ago are now 100 feet long, and it's just spreading all up and down the river. It has just started to explode in Winchester. So this is sort of what brings me to Wakefield, because I am doing much the same work in Winchester. So I thought I would put together a package that might work for both towns.
Okay.
And do you think people, I guess you'll talk to Dennis, like in the DPW, are educated about cultural practices? Like if they're taking heavy equipment in to knotweed infested areas, they're supposed to be washing it, that kind of thing?
No.
I don't know.
It's a time.
It's an excellent question, and I certainly would mention that to Dennis. That's one of the things that we could do. That's one of the things that we could do.
I just wouldn't want them washing equipment near Crystal Lake. Like,
I don't think they'd be washing anything.
Okay.
I don't think they'd be adhering to my, and I think realistically, it's a time thing. They're maintaining all the fields, the common,
They have a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. But it pretty much appears in wetlands first. So it's the kind of thing where you probably don't want to be bringing in heavy equipment type stuff when you're you're doing landscaping around those areas, or you risk spreading it around. It's just something that, they should probably, as a town, think about how we approach sort of landscaping and maintaining open space with this invasive there.
All right, so I will collect, at this point, I think the best thing for me to do is to collect more information, start thinking about a plan, put together some stuff, send it out, and it can be a part of our meeting conversation for a couple of more meetings until we're all comfortable with where to go from here.
Someone must have a procedure on how to do this, don't you think?
Who?
Some government agency must have a procedure.
Well, now I'm going to give Rebecca a call. Rebecca mentioned to me that she was working on some protocols with DEP. So I'm going to give her a call, and I know that there's a revision coming to the Wetlands Protection Act regs in the near future. I'm going to see if her recommendations are going to be part of that revision. So I'll give Rebecca a call and see what she has. Right now, she's going to wind up being the state expert on it. So I'll give her a call and see what she has and see what's coming out with DEP.
So just don't keep your hopes up.
Yeah.
Don't keep your hopes up to get that policy out for a while.
To get what out for a while?
What she's working
in
on
the
right
reg?
now, what she's working on right now,
Yeah,
reg revisions.
Yeah.
Those will not be out for quite a while. Those are,
how long is quite a while?
Years, months?
Years.
I can't say, but I can tell you that the wetlands regs that are out for draft right now for comments, it could be a long time.
So would the.
But you
would
can
the-
talk to her. It's her project. It's her. She'll know better than I do. But
All right, I'll give her a call. I'll see what she
Okay.
has to say.
It's funny, there are different approaches. I'm looking.
Pick her brain.
yeah, I saved a bunch of articles and stuff on it. Just looking at it right now. I mean, I can start cataloging this stuff. Eleanor, if you have resources you want to send as a library, that might help. There might be something that we don't know about or we're missing or whatever. That might be easy. Who knows?
Okay, so I'll start collecting information, send it out. We can sort of pick over ideas and slowly but surely move forward.
Okay. All right.
And then what happens with the emails that were sent? Sorry, do you?
Which emails concerning what?
Wetlands inquiry and the Keith's trees, those are gonna get.
I got to talk to Keith's. I just haven't had a chance to get to it yet. And if you have an email, just forward it to me. When I come in on Fridays, I go through the emails and pick up whatever tasks are included in the emails. So just forward.
I haven't received any emails concerning Keith or.
I have. I haven't.
Jimmy, I just forwarded them to you while we were talking.
Okay, I'll pick them up Friday.
Okay, and then I'll send you my photos that I saw. I don't know if it was another property back there. I'll try to figure out which one it was.
Was it near 200 Quantipout?
No, this was behind the high school, the
Oh, the dumping.
person who's, stockpiling. And then again, this could be like a good way to spread not weed in that area. Like we really need to educate people about not doing that.
Well, that's my point. At a start, we need to start educating people.
Is there no fines for doing that? Like,
No.
There are no fines, no, not from the state. That could be not from the town. We don't even have bylaws.
You don't have to
Okay.
build a fine.
They would never adopt fines here. And DEP doesn't recommend fines anymore anyways.
okay. It's more like the threat than,
Yeah. The empty threat.
people get surprised. I mean, I've talked to colleagues who they have no idea, like, what? I can't throw grass clippings in, the forest, the conservation land behind my house.
Yeah.
And then they go before their commission and get in trouble.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, so I guess the last thing is the DEP appeal, which will be we'll be meeting at 150 Presidential Way on Thursday at 10 o'clock. So, Jim, you're going to go?
I think I am. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll check in with you.
Yeah, just check in with me.
Or tomorrow.
Hey, Haley, are you going to go?
I'm planning to go, yes.
All right. So do you have my cell phone number?
Do you want to give it to me now, just to make sure?
Yeah, 617-605-3195.
Eleanor, I had a barred owl in my backyard.
No, really?
I just had one hooting in my yard.
Yeah, I have one in my yard too. I
I
have
have actually two.
wetlands in my yard, so
I have actually 2 of them now.
Oh, that's so cool.
pretty
All right,
soon
so
they'll
I'll
start
meet
hooting
you
back to
out
each
there,
other.
Haley.
Are we done for tonight?
Yeah, so there's nothing else you want changed with the job description. I just wanted to double check. I'll change the year's experience to 5 and the end of May, maybe we'll get a couple of resumes.
I haven't seen the job description.
It's not, I sent it to you, you saw it. You commented on it.
What
You
I
guys
said,
helped create it.
Yeah, I have a link to it in that Excel file too.
Going back a little bit, Jimmy.
send
It was
it back.
February, that's a long time ago.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be a while before someone's in the position. Just look at it that way. Maybe come August, there'll be someone.
you never know. I mean, you can
No,
look
by
at
the time it's
right side.
posted, it's not gonna be
Look-
posted till the end of May.
Why does it take this long to get posted?
Because there's a review period from the Attorney General from the town meeting. For all the warrant articles, to make sure they comply. And then, you know, sometimes it takes forever for people to apply, and then it's the summer and, you know,
Mm.
What happens in the interim if there are filings that have deadlines? We only have Elaine, that's 5 hours a week.
I'm working
Um,
more than 5 hours a week now.
Okay.
I don't know what happens
We still
for
hit a
vacation coverage,
capacity
so
issue
that's,
at some point.
Just thinking if there's a big project that comes along, if I don't know, if it's feasible to get temporary help or something,
right.
If we have a big project, like the Vogue was a big project, a huge project, we always have the possibility of hiring peer review, which can be helpful.
But we should also think of vacation coverage where summer is coming up, if you're gonna be away.
Yeah, I am going to be away.
Mhm.
I am going to be away. I am planning on taking time off this summer.
Are we gonna know when?
We could just shut down.
I know, we might have to. That's what I'm thinking.
Not
Fun.
accepting filing.
Gone fishing.
Yeah.
Well,
Say
and
filings, you know, once they file, you have to get things done within certain time periods. But if
Yeah.
you say the office is not open for filings, you don't trigger any of those requirements.
Yeah, I don't know how the town will go along with that, though, because the town has projects coming up.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe we'll have someone by then.
Maybe we'll have somebody by then.
takes me 6 months for an entry level people in accounting. And there are tons of accountants.
You guys better ramp up. You're gonna be out there doing everything.
Yeah.
Was it time for
All right.
another motion yet?
Elaine looks tired. We should probably call it a night.
Yes, I think we should.
Elaine or
Sorry, I
Judy?
didn't mean to single you out. I know you're working so hard.
That's okay. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
do we have
Well,
to close it?
I
Yeah.
motion to
Yeah.
adjourn the meeting.
Second,
Second,
Um,
no discussion.
No discussion. Looking for my list. but-
there's only 4
Any
of us.
discussion on the motion? No discussion, I'll make a well, what was the motion?
So
Adjourn?
adjourn, yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Good job
Me
today,
too.
Jimmy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.